created myself a job. I didn't have any leverage in my life at all, and so what I was looking to do was find a way where I could just have extra cash flow to free up my time, because I was working 12 to 15 hours a day, every day, never saw my wife, never saw my kids, and I liked them a lot, and I was missing them. And so when we started doing commercial real estate, and that's where I found my first real passion about finding coaches and mentors. Back at that time, my wife, actually our first deal was a 32-unit apartment complex, multiple millions of dollars. We didn't know what we were doing. And she said, I think we need a coach. And I'm like, well, let's find one. We would spend thousands of dollars for what we can just to get that coaching and that mentorship. So when I got approached with Nu Skin, I was not looking. But I realized the vehicle that it was there. And one of my biggest things I had to overcome was being the hard-headed entrepreneur that had built two other businesses. I thought, oh, I've done it twice, I'll do it again. And I tried to do everything myself. I didn't use the system. I didn't use team. I was like, no, I'll just try to make my own way. It's just kind of like we've heard from multiple team leads. The system's there, just use it. There's no guesswork. It's the plan's in place. And so, now it's such a beautiful thing. Some of my best friends are here, in the front couple rows, and I feel like, I could get a couple $100 plane flight, and I could spend 2 days with multiple millionaires for nothing. And I can chew on their ear, ask them questions, and figure out how to do it. I don't have to learn that guesswork anymore. And I think that's one of the biggest things I love about the system that's in place is that teamwork. Because my mentors and friends are spread across this company. It's not just your team. It's everybody having that same goal, that same vision of wanting to create something massive. And I think that was my biggest obstacle I had to overcome was it's kind of like Arden said before, I just submit my point of views to others that, could honestly have it from a different perspective because they've been there and done that. And I think that's been my biggest obstacle to overcome. And now my business has started to grow so much faster, just being willing to be submissive to the team that's around it and listen to the mentors that have been there and done that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Diane. I'm Diane Sweat, and I live in Houston, Texas with my incredible husband, Don Sweat, my business partner and mentor. We've been married for 29 years, and we have two fabulous children, Lauren and Austin, ages 28 and 24. I was in insurance marketing. When I moved to Houston, I started an insurance agency, and Don and I each have lived so many facets of the American dream and what is perceived to be the pinnacle of success, and in actuality, we found that to be very lacking. We were working as nonprofit professionals when we were presented with a Nu Skin opportunity. But I will tell you, the biggest challenge at that time was belief, because we had been in a multi-level marketing business before, and we'd also experienced some significant disappointments in business. And so we were presented the opportunity from Carla Hill. Initially, we declined. And so, fortunately and gratefully, Carla came back again and again and kept inviting us to take a look at the business. And Don, being just a very strategic business mind, said, there's no way that we'll be able to validate this opportunity for ourselves unless we go to the corporate offices and check it out. Eyeball to eyeball, as he said. So the first thing we did was we flew up for a TEU. And I just, when I make that statement, it's the most profound thing I could possibly say to everybody here. Imagine if we hadn't come. Imagine if we had said to Carla, that's like $1,500. We can't possibly spend that much money to check this out. But we did. We came up, and what we saw was absolutely incredible. And we knew we had our hands on something that was going to change our lives. So I would just tell you that I think people build this business when they see themselves as having the ability to achieve their dreams. And I believe that actually happens when they come to an event. I love what Blake Brumby says about success being the realization of your dreams, but not just the realization of your dreams, the ability to bring people that you love with you. And so the big question that resonates in my mind now is, how do I want to be remembered? By whom and for what? And the system especially the events, have given us our ability to build our belief and be able to pass that belief on to others.
Well, so once again, a couple of leaders were born, and I just wanted to ask you guys to go back to Jason real quick, if you can level. So you guys can share that as well. Could you just share that maybe next time?
I'm in Emerald, and I'll be, my intention this month is to be qualified for Punta so that's what we're driving for. So that's what we're
Done? All right, beautiful.
John and I are Emeralds, and we will be in Punta Cana, and our goal is to be Blue Diamonds by the end of the year.
Are you noticing that there's time frame when you're listening so, Mark? Would you share your wisdom?
Yeah, hi everybody. Mark Franklin Toy here. Come from Denver, Colorado. Denver? Sweet. There's everybody here. So I've been a pro snowboarder for 16 years, and basically became psychologically unemployable with that kind of lifestyle. So that was an amazing thing to do. The problem was I was doing it alone a lot. I had a lot of friends that didn't make it and I quit. And it was because there's no proven, guaranteed way to become a pro snowboarder and have that kind of lifestyle. Another problem is really cool deal, but when you mess up, you're in the hospital for a while. Here when you mess up, you're not in the hospital for a while. So it's a lot easier, or simpler. So one of the things I found in the system, which is pretty amazing, is to be able to manage those energies. I saw people quit on their dream, and they were so good. They were so good. And I was looking at him like, he's got everything. He's got everything he needs. And then kind of broken arm, and he couldn't tell where he was, right, as far as his progress. And this was a lot of them. And so all of a sudden, they just kind of disappeared and went back to the normal life. He got a job, rolling sushi, whatever they wanted to do. But I'm thinking of somebody specific, right? But it was if he just only knew he was so close, right? So many people are so close and they have all this to go for him. So in the system, there's numbers. If you surrender to the numbers, like 250 presentations will get you to Ruby, right? And that you're like, oh, that seems like a lot, but if you give yourself a year, it's only one a day, right? It's not even one a day. So it helps with managing energies. It becomes really predictable if you surrender to yourself in the system. Because in the system, by doing it over and over again, the repetition, you'll become specialized in the system. Right? So one of my distributors, she's awesome, a couple of executive, and she came up and she said, well, I've been here for a while, I'm so I feel burnt out. I said, okay, well, let's go back to numbers. I know your goal, so how many presentations did you do today? None. Okay, how many did you do yesterday? None. How many did you do this week? One. Okay, so you're not burnt out on doing the business. You're burnt out on thinking about doing the business. Right? Your hallucinations about doing the business. Right? So that'll manage your energy. Stick to your numbers.
And Mark, tell me what you're going for.
Oh, what I'm going for, I was going to say Triple Black Platinum Superstar thing. But I'm Emerald right now. We're going Diamond. Mari's on fire. She's killing it. We're going Blue Diamond fast as possible.
Beautiful. And for those of you who know that, the younger generation has kind of seen how the older generation, the jobs aren't working out, things are a little different, and Rebecca had her own experience with that. So for those of you who are going after the younger market, her perspective is just incredible.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Morris. I'm from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I'm 23, and I was first introduced to Nu Skin by a couple family members of mine, or they were actually presenting to my parents. It was not to me. And you got to hear one of them earlier today. It was Julie Toth. And so I listened to the business presentation because I didn't want to go downstairs with the rest of the kids. And so I listened to a business presentation instead. And what I heard was a business that even at 16, I got the concept of working really hard for a short amount of time and then not having to work again if I don't want to. And so that stuck with me, even when my parents said no, at that time at least, because they've said yes now. But over the years, I watched Bill and Julie's lifestyle develop, and I saw them move out to their ranch in Waller, get their horses, travel around the world, really get to do and be everything that they wanted, and they had everything that you would think that you want. And so when I finished college, I did graduate in 3 years with an accounting degree while playing soccer. And when I went to the corporate world, it was about this time 2 years ago. It was only 2 months into the career, and I just knew I was not where I was meant to be. I wasn't doing what I really loved. I wasn't where I wanted to be location-wise. And so I was open. I was looking. And then we had a family reunion, and some curiosity got the best of me, and Bill and Julie were there. And so I reached out and said, remind me of what you do. And they showed me the presentation again, and I got it then. And I started 2 years ago next month, in August 2012. And it, like I said last night, it has changed my life. And one of the biggest things that has helped me is this system. I am just an example of someone who made myself very coachable. You've heard them talk a little bit about surrendering yourself, and I think my athletic background helped with that. Really knowing what it meant to have a coach, that they're there for you. And I had one of those big moments, beginning of this year. I was a Ruby, but I wasn't going anywhere. And I know some of you probably are in that position, or have been there before, where your business isn't moving and you don't really know what to do. And so I had a consultation with my upline, and I said, what can I do to change this? You know what my goal is? I started at the beginning of the year saying, this is my blue diamond year, and it's not going anywhere. And so we had that, and what they did was they showed me, they made me reflect back on what I had been successful at, and for me that was my athletic background, having played for 13 years. And so for you guys, that may be being married, it may be raising kids. I don't have kids, but I hear it's a hard job, so maybe that's a success you've had or had a business. But what did it take to be successful? And in soccer, that was doing all the little things day in, day out, repeatedly, over and over again, even when I got bored of them. And so when I had that moment, things shifted. And so then I was able to duplicate something that I had done in my life, and that's easy to go back and tell others to duplicate as well for them. So that was a big learning moment for me.
Beautiful. Would you share your level and where you're headed?
I am a diamond, so like I said, my goal is to be a blue diamond by the end. Thank you. My goal is to be a blue diamond by the end of the year, and by the age of 25, be a team leader.
So I had the pleasure of meeting Jeff for the first time this morning and hearing a very unique story, and looking forward to you guys hearing his wisdom.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Wolf. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. And my background, anybody from Chicago? All right, a couple. My background is in sales, industrial sales, and I was fortunate enough to be introduced to this industry 22 years ago. And when I was introduced to network marketing, I was introduced to the concept of personal development, and I was actually Rebecca's age when I got started. And it's been an unbelievable experience for me. And when I talked to Artemis and Charlie, they said, we want to talk about some challenge that you've had in business and what you've been able to do to overcome it, what the outcome's been. And my biggest challenge has always been between my two ears. Can anybody relate to that? Talking yourself out of making a phone call, talking yourself out of giving a presentation. And for me, it's always been about the principles. At Rebecca's age, I came into this thing just an open book and being totally coachable. And as I got a little bit older, I started to prejudge things. And I'm getting back to the basics now. And for me, it's about daily reading, it's about listening, it's about personal development, and it's about getting out of your comfort zone. And I love what Julie talked about with presenting. And I'll never forget the first time that I heard my sponsor do a presentation. I mean, he was animated, he was articulate, he was funny, and I was sitting back there and I'm thinking to myself, man, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. And I kept listening to the tapes and talking to my upline about what it's going to take to do this. And I gave my first presentation, and my heart was literally in my throat. Anybody ever had that feeling before? I mean, I could hardly get 2 words out. I literally stumbled through that first presentation. It was absolutely awful. But the great thing is that you can't fail in this business. And I just kept doing it, and I kept doing it. I'm still not comfortable, and I don't think we ever want to get to the point where we're completely comfortable, because that keeps us sharp, it keeps us wanting to grow and develop and to become more. And I know the reason I've been able to get off to a fast start at New Skin is because of these principles I've learned over the years. And I just want to continue to develop myself. And it's not so much, whenever I get myself at a point where I feel like I'm stumbling, it's because I'm thinking about me and not about how can I develop to get better, to help and coach people to the next level. And, what I look forward to more than anything is at the next event, I know there's a lot of new people here today, is to see you up on stage, to hear about your challenges, hear about some of the things that you've done to overcome them, and get one step closer to all your dreams and goals.
Jeff, did you want to speak to where you're headed?
What's that?
Did you want to speak to where you're headed?
Oh, I've been in New Skin actually for 4 months now. I'm a Lapis. I'm going to be Ruby by the end of this month. I want to be Emerald by September and Blue Diamond by the end of the year. That's my goal.
Yeah. So you guys are really very specific about what the time frame is. And
Hi, my name is Judy McLarnus. I'm from Alta, Utah, and I'm just so grateful to be here today. My story is that I've been married 41 years. I have 7 grandchildren and 3 sons. And it's a real blessing to have come into the New Skin family. And for me, what I like best about New Skin is the culture, education, and the personal growth. I've actually manufactured in China. I've worked in the pipeline industry and also as an educator. But my most important job has been as a mother. And our 3 sons have been internationally competitive athletes. And when I think about New Skin and where my challenges have been, I have to take a step back and look at how our sons have been raised and what my expectations have been with them. And so I'm going to tell you a little story about a woman that was an executive in our business, and she decided about last January she was pretty much over it. She's a single mother in her early 50s. She has no retirement, and she was always at her meetings every week. She was very dependable, but the business wasn't going anywhere. She was bringing people to the meetings. So when she left, I thought, I have failed. I have failed her. And the reason I say that is because I was not taking a step back and thinking, what could I do to change, to make an impact on her and help her make an objective decision and choice as to her future. And so about 2.5 months ago, I picked up the phone and called her. And, and she said, yeah, I'll get together with you for coffee. So we met, and I said, I realize you're not doing the business, but hey, bring your oldest address book and your iPhone. So she fell for that, and she came and met me. And we talked for a while. And I says, look how easy this is. Look what's happening. I'm so excited. I know you can do this. You are just amazing. And so she's like, really? And so we talked for a while. And then I said, okay, I think it's time to make a phone call. And she said, really? I said, yeah, and let's call number 1 on your list. She says, oh, no. She won't want to do this. I know she won't want to do this. I said, well, that's why we need to call her. And so instead of being all powerful and saying, you need to do this, I said, let's just reverse the roles. If I were sitting across the table and you were saying this to me, I would be filled with fear as well. But we have a plan, and we can do this. And so what we did then was we called 10 people in about 40 minutes. We got 4 appointments, and there are several things that have come out of this. This person is now an executive again in 2 months. She is now going to maximize this month. And the reason she's going to be able to do this is because somebody believed enough in her to give her another opportunity to take a look. And also because I was willing to take a step back and see what can I do? How can I make a difference so that the people around me can have the success and the joy that I have. Thank you. I've been in New Skin 2 years, and I'm a diamond, and I'm planning to be, not diamond, baby. I am going to be a blue diamond on March 31st, 11:59 p.m.
That's beautiful. Scotty Kearns is out of Canada, and he just is, yes. Many have had a chance to get to know, so I'm just going to let him tell his story. What an amazing plan and story he has. What an incredible guy.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ernest, and good afternoon, everyone. My voice is getting a little hoarse from cheering so much, so I love that. I'm from Toronto, Canada. My background is 20 years in the hospitality industry, and it's interesting because I got into Nu Skin 6 years ago, and it was an event that brought me forth to really be able to see something that I was unable to see for myself. And so today I want to share that really Nu Skin for me is really all about lifestyle. And working 80 to 100 hours a week and where I found myself at the point in time in my life where I was, I think that I was extremely fortunate that I received that phone call one day. And why I say that is that the challenges that presented themselves to me in the past are really why I'm here today. And throughout the course of my Nu Skin business, there's always been these intermittent little stops. So I've been a fairly high-level athlete in my past. I enjoyed really, I think, great career in the restaurant industry. And Nu Skin is just a reflection of that. So at every point in time, in what I do in this business, I can kind of look at one thing only, and that's the biggest challenge. It's consistently been the biggest challenge from day one, and why it took me 14 months to become an executive. Right? And then through the stages from being an executive to becoming a Ruby, then from going on as a year as a Ruby to become an Emerald, and then a Diamond, and so as to where I am today. There's only one obstacle, and it's me. Right? Consistently, that the obstacle always can turn back, really for me to look in the mirror and see where I'm at. And I think that the greatest piece of this is that there's always one simple solution. So I compiled a whole bunch of notes, and it's interesting because they're actually all in here. So for those of you that don't have it, it's the one-page document to our system, and in the center of that is a pinnacle event called Success Summit. So that's what we all are. So the best thing is we're all here today at this event. And it was in consultation about a year and a half ago. I'm really fortunate. I have Casey here beside me right now. And just not to specifically say that it's about Casey, but our upline is the most important thing in our business in consultation. They have a vested interest in us, in our success. And in consultation a year and a half ago, surprisingly enough, we're at an event. Right? I was backstage at an event and I had consultation with my upline. And I said, what do I need to do to get the team to do? So what's the one thing you're not doing? And I'll say he or she, so as not to reference which upline it was, but specifically, it was really came down to the centerpiece of what is in our system. And those were the events that I had attended, a lot of events, but that I had not consistently attended events. And so for the last year and a half, I've attended every one of the events, and I can truthfully say to you that the obstacle being only myself in my business, that the solution is at the events. So my encouragement is just really be bold, be kind, and be great. As I said, my pin title is Diamond, and I will be a blue diamond by the end of this year.
So I just had the privilege again. I don't know about each of you. I'm sure that you guys are finding that I would have paid money to coach with any of you in the nuggets that you're saying, and now as well, just to get these nuggets that you guys are sharing. I had the privilege of spending a couple of days with Casey recently, and she shared some of the things that have really become just a part of who she is and how she does the business. So Casey. Thank you. I'm going to stand up.
I'm from Pleasant California, and my background is as a business entrepreneur for 20 years now. 12 years of that as a day spa owner, and 5 in real estate, and then the last 6.5 with Nu Skin. And why I started this business was for immediate income with a long-term exit strategy out of real estate and a way to make a global difference. And the best part of the last 6.5 years has been that as I continue to put myself out there and impact others' lives, that my life has been completely transformed as well. And that is my passion, is to help other people do that same thing. So it was, as we're talking about challenges in the business, as I've gone through each space of growth, there's a new challenge that in the moment feels insurmountable, and it wouldn't be a challenge if it didn't feel like that. And the one most recently was around my birthday this May, and
my boyfriend, who is one of the most loving and supportive people in my life, took me away for 4 days. And he knew that I've been feeling kind of flat. He knew that I'm not where I want to be and having attained my goals in this business. And so, out of support, one of the things that he planned was, how to help me get from my head into my heart and connect that passion, because from that emotion is where we do this business. And so, he brought all these magazines, and we got these really great boards, and we had a beach house for 4 days, right on the water, and we made dream boards, and I felt nothing. And I knew in my head I have a responsibility to the people that I work with on my team to be an example so that they can fulfill their dreams. And inside of me, I wasn't finding what I needed to go do it for myself. And as I started looking inside, I had to ask myself some really challenging questions. And the question that was the most challenging is, what am I not doing right now? And I use our system to be able to look at that at any moment in time, and I can check off, yes, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And the thing that I got to was that I wasn't reading. And so I made a commitment on my birthday trip that I would put myself in a place of being inconvenienced, which was, instead of rolling out about at 5:15 to jump on a core call and be my workout by 5:30, that the end of my day was essentially being wasted, not moving towards my dreams for the last couple of hours, was to set my alarm and go to bed at 9 o'clock, and when the alarm went off, go to bed with a book. And at 4:30 when the alarm goes off, get out with that book. Because it's what I wasn't doing in that system. And at the same time, as I started to implement that and think about the question that I had been asked of, who is my peer group? Who do I want my peers to be, and what do I want them to look at me and say? It's that I want to be known, and at some point in my life, to say, you know what, that woman is a leader of leaders who's empowered other men and other women to go out and make the impact that they want to make. And in order to do that, I've got to do it for myself. And so this system and always being able to look and check in on where I'm at and what can I improve, the answers are in the system. It's up to you. It's up to me to ask the question. And as you do, you'll find the answers by looking at the system and being willing to take that action. And so my goal, my commitment is to qualify for Punta Cana as a Blue Diamond. And together we will do